Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Chow with Lau, and today I'm going to show you how to make chicken sesame toast. Let's go. Now, most of you are probably familiar with sesame prawn toast because you've probably had it from takeaways and restaurants before. But I also know that quite a few of you don't really like prawn. And there is an alternative, and that's the chicken sesame prawn toast. Equally tasty, equally easy to make, and just as good. But before we jump into the recipe, I have to give a big shout out to Gem District, who was the first one to put the correct answer in the comments of what my last anagram was, which was flavour is life. Now, same goes for this one. First person to put down the correct answer for this anagram will get a shout out in the next video. So see if you can get it before the video finishes. So first off, I've got 2 cloves of garlic, which I'm going to roughly chop. Now I've got a piece of ginger which I've peeled, and I'm just going to really finely chop this. You can grate it if you like. And altogether, this is going to be about a teaspoon of ginger. I've also got 2 pieces of spring onion, which I am going to finely chop. I'm going to separate a large egg. I've got 300 grams of chicken breast meat here, which I'm just going to roughly chop. So the next step is to blitz all our ingredients together. So this might be the right time to break out your food processors. I'm not, because mine's gathering dust in the cupboard. I don't use it often enough to justify having it on my work counter. So therefore I'm going to use this. Now, I picked this up from Hong Kong years and years ago. It was an impulse buy, one of those things that when I bought it and showed it to my wife, she kind of rolled her eyes at me thinking, you're never going to use that. Well, who's laughing now, Yvonne? I'm using it today. It's quite a simple little thing really. It's basically a mixing bowl with a little thing that holds a blade. It also has an aerator whisk thing, so you can use it to whisk things up pretty easily. This is a blade obviously to chop and to shred things quite finely. And on that sits the lid with the gearing mechanism, and you use your handle, turns it around, makes the blade spin fast, and therefore chop up and shred everything that's in the bowl. Quite simple really. So we're going to put our roughly chopped up chicken here. Obviously I chopped it up roughly so it would actually give it a head start. The rest of it will be shredded by the blades. If you don't have a food processor or anything like this at all, you could obviously use a knife to really mash and chop the chicken up, or you can buy minced chicken, which I think you can widely find in supermarkets, and that makes your life quite a bit easier too. So to the chicken I'm going to add about half a tablespoon of light soy sauce, half a tablespoon of sesame oil, about a teaspoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of fried spice powder, a little pinch of salt and white pepper, not too much salt because obviously we've got saltiness from the soy sauce in there, the spring onions, ginger and garlic, and the egg white. So we're going to put the lid on this thing, and then we're going to blitz it up. Right, there you go. It seems to be a nice texture. However, the effort I had to put in to get it to this stage was quite a lot. I may have to eat humble pie and say, although it worked, getting the food processor out was probably the easier option. Once again, my wife is correct. Right guys, so the next step is to prepare our bread. I've got 3 slices of quite thick bread here, and I'm going to just take the crusts off. Obviously, the less wastage, the better. You can keep the crust on if you like. It's just that traditionally, the crusts are taken off. I actually find that slightly stale bread is easier to use on this recipe, because when it comes to spreading on the mixture, if the bread is really soft, it's quite hard to apply. Obviously, when the bread is a little bit, I'm not talking about mouldy bread, I'm talking about the bread that's just gone a little bit dry, which is perfect. Obviously, we won't notice this because it's about to get fried. So we've got a piece of bread, and we're going to spoon the mixture on and just flatten it down with the spoon. You want quite a thick layer, like so. And then pop it in the fridge for about half an hour to chill. It's been about half an hour now, so I've got the bread with the chicken mixture out of the fridge. I've got 100 grams of sesame seeds, and remember that egg I separated before? Well, here's the yolk, and I've added another egg to it, so I've got about 1.5 eggs here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip face down into the egg, and this is going to help me stick the sesame seeds to the bread, just like that. And what we need to do is just gently press it in to make sure that it's going to stick firmly. We don't want it coming loose during the frying stage. Right guys, as you can see, we've made 6 very generous pieces of sesame chicken bread here, soon to become toast. The thickness of the mixture is wow, and the amount of sesame seeds we've put here, I don't think you're gonna find restaurants or takeaways selling them like this, because they wouldn't make any money whatsoever. However, if you have made more than you can eat in one go, what you can do is put them in freezer bags and stick them in the freezer. They'll last months. So if you've got a party or an event coming up, you can make loads and stick them in your freezer. You can actually cook them from frozen, so you don't even have to defrost them. You can put them straight in and fry them, and they'll be perfect. And everybody's gonna think you're a complete wizard in the kitchen. Right guys, so I've got about 1 centimetre of oil in this big frying pan here. So we're gonna get the oil medium, not too hot, otherwise we're gonna burn our toast. I'm gonna put a bit of crust in just to see what temperature we're at. And kind of just fizzing away is nice. We don't want it too fierce, otherwise it is going to burn the bread and the chicken mix, and that's not what we want. So I've got my first piece of toast here, or first piece of bread, it's not toast yet, and we're going to gently lay it down, face down, into the hot oil, followed quickly by another one. Let it sizzle away for a little bit. And what we want is a golden brown, so we're going to turn it over, and we're going to flip it over a couple of times during the whole of the cooking, just to make sure that it's not going to burn too much on either side. See, that first fry has kind of set the mixture onto the bread, but obviously it hasn't cooked it through yet, so we're going to turn it over a couple of times at least throughout this cooking stage. It's just nicely blipping away. Have to keep an eye on this because it can burn quite quickly if you're not careful. So we're going to turn it over again. So after about 5 or 6 minutes, when the toast is nice and golden brown, they're done. Now all there is to do is to drain them on some kitchen towel. And get ready to serve them up. Check it out guys. Now all we have to do is cut it into the customary triangles. The perfect Chinese style finger food. Check it out. See how thick that filling is? And you've got to eat this freshly out of the fryer. Right guys, the moment I've been waiting for, it's tasting time. Oh my gosh. That's literally one of the best things I've ever made. It honestly is much better than any restaurant or takeaway sesame toast I've ever had. And that's the way it should be in a way, because I've chosen all the ingredients, I've made it the way I want to, I haven't had to make it to a cost. That's where restaurants and takeaways are at a disadvantage, because obviously they've got to make profit. So the little things like the spring onion absolutely makes a difference. It's got that really subtle oniony flavour in there. That really, I know it's a weird thing because sesame and the chicken is the star ingredient, or are the star ingredients, but that spring onion makes absolutely a massive amount of difference. And the garlic and the ginger all come through very subtly, but they're there, and it just adds to a flavour, because sometimes you eat this sort of thing and it's quite bland. This is packed full of flavour. And the chicken is obviously kind of really, really tender because we've blitzed it. The sesame seeds crunch against the softness of the chicken is such a nice contrast. The bread is still nice and soft but crisp and crunchy on the outside. I am in heaven. I'm having it with some sweet chili sauce. Wow. I know I say this all the time, but you have so got to try this recipe. It is so much better than buying takeout or even from restaurants, because it is fresh out of your own frying pan. It is so good like that. There is nothing else like it. And your friends and family are going to think you're a complete magician, because it's something that everybody likes, right? But not that many people try to make, because on the surface of it, it looks complicated, difficult. It looks like kind of, you know, Chinese cooking wizardry. But as I've shown you, it is dead simple. So go and have a go, and then let me know in the comments below how you get on, and if you've done anything different or how you've managed to make it your own. I always like to see how people do these things. Right guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, but before I go, did you get my anagram right? And if you were the first one to get it right and put it in the comments below, I'm going to give you a shout out in my next cooking video. Thank you very much for watching. Give us a like, subscribe, comment below, tell me what you think, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thanks guys, take care, bye.